And even so, I don't let his haunches fall out. That's why I don't like lunging. Talking to the outside now. He did a fairly nice bascule, as they say. I think that's how you pronounce it. Rounded his top line over the jump. But he's nonchalant. Comes away from the jump not quick, not all shook up. And that's another neat thing about warming up a horse from the inside out. Later on, if I'm doing a quick warm-up at a show, and the horse is further along, of course, in this, thoroughbreds warm up best in the walk and the canter. Warm bloods are more basically from the trot. And there you see him do a square halt because he was squared behind, not because I asked him for the square halt. They want to become square when they're square behind. So there's a 10 halt in dressage without pulling them in the mouth. Coming through from behind. Now I'm just getting on. I get off the brick wall and I'm walking away. And still, my whole thing now is square. He's square, his back's warmed up. There's no tickling from, a cold back or anything. His muscles, and I can go straight into asking him things. And mentally, he's not saying, oh, I'm achy or whatever. Notice his forearms, how he's stretching them now. And with my weight on the back and in the stirrups, I can sustain his hind legs a little bit by pressing down at different times with my seat and my stirrup iron so that he can take longer steps behind and stay on the ground just a little bit longer so he can use his whole shoulder and then his forearm and his leg, front leg. All this goes back to muscle memory. Muscle memory is, you probably all have seen pianists, violinists, and when you're little, you do your scales that drive everybody crazy probably, but even to this day there are pieces, two-part Bach pieces. I can sit down at the piano, and I haven't played in years, and just play it because my hands learned when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and they just go to those notes. I can't even probably tell you the notes. Well, horses are the same way. If you start at the get-go balanced and everything, they'll have a muscle memory. If you start with gadgets and you're making them do a position, and the physics of it aren't equal on all four legs, and the stature, the vertebrae of the horse is not perfectly in line underneath him, then he's going to always drop the hip or drop the shoulder. He's always going to be more weight in one hand than the other, because that's his muscle memory. So if you start out with really that is your focus, later on flying changes are easy. Everything becomes easy, halts, extensions, and you want to keep it easy. Because I don't want this horse, right now he thinks a 2 foot, 3 foot jump is easy. Well, when I get the jumps up higher, I want him to, in his mind, in stature over the ground, look at a 4 or 5 foot jump just like a 2 foot jump. It's easy. You don't make it easy by just going down to the jump over and over and over again until the horse finally gets it or doesn't. You want to make it easy because physically it's easy for them. And when a horse is balanced, they don't stop at jumps. A green horse like this is very willing. He wants to, okay, we'll go do that. But if he feels off balance, they inevitably, even a great horse will stop at a jump. Then you're into the mental, psychological thing. And if you've seen older jump horses that jumped off talent and they get up to a certain stage and they quit, it's because mentally they quit. They were being jumped off their talent, and talent's a great thing, but you need to build the building, and then the horse never knows that this is, you want them like a gazelle, balanced in the air, balanced on the ground. Everything's effortless. It's not effortless at the beginning. Naturally, you see him here, and I'm trying to keep him balanced up on the turn on the haunches. And the main thing about turn on the haunches is as an exercise to get a horse more balanced and strengthened and supple both ways and ambidextrous from behind and etc., etc. And with impulsion is immediately when that horse gets to gluing one of its hind legs into the ground before it takes a step and stops engaging its haunches. You go forward, whatever it takes. And you'll see a couple of times here now I've gone forward. And whether that be in the trot or whatever, just to get them forward so that they're not zipping around one hind leg screwed to the ground. Because there goes your exercise. Now, in the old days of dressage, we had turn on the forehand too, and I guess in the 70s or something, they got together and said that's putting a horse on the forehand. Well, it isn't if the horse is balanced. It is just as bad as having the haunches not engaged to do a turn on the haunches as it is a horse that isn't engaged from behind to do a turn on the forehand. So any of the movements in dressage or exercises on the flat, however you want to put it, are all bad if they're not executed first from behind. If they're being done by footfalls and the aesthetic outside look, then you're failing the whole exercise. All the dressage movements up until Grand Prix Special are exercises, like in ballet, pliés, grand pliés, demi-pliés, all the exercises. You don't go watch Swan Lake and watch 500 pliés. That's the Grand Prix Special. Now you're seeing all that years of exercises come to a conclusion of actually doing dance. One thing that's important in a thoroughbred is never to push the envelope, but not to make the envelope claustrophobic. And that's why you see me raise my hands. I'm pushing the envelope, and whenever I do, you'll see him, flip his tail or whatever. But as soon as I give him a place to go, by raising my hand or putting it out, opening the door, I'm not making him claustrophobic. I'm just giving him, much like a ballerina puts her hand on the bar to balance herself on point, I'm giving him that kind of support so that he doesn't have to drop his hip or his shoulder and not use his back. Now this is the left canter, so I have the haunches a little bit inside because if I allowed them to come out, he'd fall again on the left shoulder. So until he really feels confident and has the muscles to support himself, and as I'm doing this little spiral here,